Use your wife's card. She's got like $60,000 saved, my husband told his brother at the mall. They bought watches, suits, a jet ski. The cashier rang it up. $58,400. Swiped the card, looked at the screen, and said, "Sir, this account has been..." I never thought I'd be the kind of person who ends up writing one of these stories. You know the ones: overworked woman, messy in-laws, money drama that sounds fake until you're the idiot living it. I'm 34, and my name is Hannah Miles. I'm an emergency medicine doctor. That basically means my life is fluorescent lights, coffee that tastes like burnt anxiety, and 12-hour shifts that somehow turn into 14. I'm the responsible one in every group. Oldest child, first one to go to college, first one to buy a decent car that actually starts in winter. In my marriage, I somehow ended up being the planner, the bill payer, the one with the spreadsheets and color-coded folders. I also have my flaws. I stress shop scrubs online at 3 a.m. I drink way too much hospital coffee. I leave half-full cups of tea everywhere like sad little monuments to optimism. I pick at the skin around my nails when I'm anxious, and I'm superstitious in small, dumb ways. In the ER, you never say, "It's quiet tonight," unless you want 6 trauma alerts in an hour. I always put my left shoe on first for shift, and I always check my banking app before bed, like a weird little ritual. Savings still there? Okay. Breathe. Sleep. I grew up broke enough to know what overdraft fees feel like in your bones, so I save. I save like the world is always 5 minutes from collapsing. Over the last few years, I managed to build up just over $60,000 in a separate account. That money was my if I get pregnant, if my mom gets sick, if I burn out and need 3 months off fund. If you ask my husband's family, though, they'd call it extra. The night everything really started, I was on my first day off after a brutal stretch of shifts. I'd slept until noon, showered, put on jeans that didn't have pen stains, and dragged myself to my in-laws' house for Sunday dinner. Tom, my husband, was already there, watching a game with his younger brother Jake and their mom, Linda. The living room smelled like pot roast and cheap beer. Football blared. There was a pile of Amazon boxes in the corner that no one seemed to remember ordering. "Hey, Dr. Moneybags finally made it," Jake said as I walked in. He lifted his beer at me like a toast. I forced a smile. "Hi, Jake." "Hi, Linda." Linda gave me that tight hug she does, all perfume and judgment. "You look tired, honey. Are they working you to death again?" "They're trying," I said, dropping my bag by the couch. We sat down to eat. Tom put his hand on my knee under the table but kept his eyes on the TV. It was noisy and normal until the conversation slid, like it always did, straight into finances. Jake was complaining about his truck payment, his rent, inflation, his boss, the universe. "Man, I swear," he groaned, stabbing his potatoes. "If I just had, like, a little cushion, I'd be set. I could start something real. My buddy's selling his jet ski for cheap. I could rent it out all summer, easy money." Linda nodded like this was genius. "You boys work so hard, it's not fair. Some people just have opportunities handed to them." Her eyes flicked to me when she said, "some people." I felt my jaw tighten. I took a sip of water instead of saying what I wanted to say, which was, "I worked for every cent I have. Nobody handed me anything." Jake glanced at me, then at Tom, then smirked. "Honestly, bro, you should just use your wife's card sometimes. Doctors make bank. She's got, like 50, 60 grand just sitting there." I froze. Tom laughed. Actually laughed. Then he said the sentence that has been echoing in my head ever since. "Use my wife's card. She's got like 60,000 saved," he joked, nudging Jake. "Right, Han. You're good. You don't even notice it." Linda chuckled. "Exactly. Money's meant to be used. You two are married. What's hers is yours. That's how family works." Everyone laughed. I did not. I smiled because that's what you do when you're cornered at a family dinner. But inside, something small and important cracked. That was the first time I heard my savings talked about like a community slush fund. It wasn't the last. To understand why that joke landed like a threat, you have to understand how I got that money in the first place. I grew up with a single mom who worked 2 jobs and still sometimes cried at the kitchen table over bills. We lived in a small apartment over a nail salon. The walls were thin. I learned the sound of debt collectors' voices before I learned my multiplication tables. I decided early that I was not going to live like that forever. Through med school, I worked nights as a waitress, took on tutoring gigs, sold my old textbooks. I used coupons, drank instant coffee, and pretended I liked oatmeal. While my classmates went on decompression trips to Cabo, I went home to my mom and did her taxes. By the time I finished residency, I had loans. Yeah. But I also had habits. Save first, breathe later. Then I met Tom. We met at a friend's birthday. He was funny and warm, worked in sales, and seemed genuinely impressed by what I did instead of intimidated. He listened. He made me laugh. He brought me soup when I had a cold. He also had a different relationship with money. "Babe, I'm just bad with numbers," he'd say, waving off overdraft notices. "I'll figure it out. I always land on my feet." He had credit card debt from college, a car payment, and a vague plan to start his own thing someday. But he was kind. He showed up. And I was so used to being the one who handled everything that it felt normal to just add money to the list. When we moved in together, it started small. "Hey, my card got declined at the gas station. Can I use yours? I'll Venmo you tonight." "Rent's due and my commission check is late. Can we just cover it from your account this month?" There was always a story, a reason, a promise. Sometimes the money actually came back. Sometimes it didn't. I told myself it balanced out. We got married 3 years later. Simple wedding, nothing crazy. I kept my student loan payments on autopilot and started aggressively saving. Finally. We had a joint checking account for bills, but my big savings were in an account under my name. In the beginning, I told Tom everything. How much I owed, how much I was saving, what my number was. "It's not that much," I said once, embarrassed. "About $25,000 right now. My goal's 60. That's when I'll feel like I can maybe breathe." He kissed my forehead. "You're amazing. I don't know how you keep all that straight." Then he went and told his family. I found out because at a barbecue, Linda slapped my arm and said, "Tom tells me you've already saved more than we did in 20 years of marriage. You must be rolling in it, sweetheart." I laughed it off. But inside, I felt weirdly exposed, like someone had read my diary out loud. Over the next year, the comments got sharper. "Can you spot Jake a bit for his car repairs? You're the doctor," Linda said once. "We're family," Jake added. "It's not like you'll miss a couple thousand." When I hesitated, the guilt train rolled in. "Wow," Linda muttered. "Must be nice to forget what it's like to struggle. We're not asking you to buy us a house." "I never said no," I answered quietly. "I said I need to think." Tom would pull me aside later. "Hon, they just need help sometimes," he'd say. "You're making more than all of us. It's not fair, but it's reality. You know?" I started putting up tiny boundaries, written budgets, loan agreements I emailed to Tom when he wanted to help Jake, just this once. At one point, Tom took $5,000 from our joint account to bail Jake out of a failed business investment without telling me. I found out when I checked the account before paying our mortgage. "What, Tom?" I snapped, shoving my phone at him. "Where did $5,000 go?" He winced. "Jake, his truck. He was going to lose it. I was going to tell you, I just panicked. He's my brother." I remember standing in our tiny kitchen, staring at him, feeling like my brain was on fire. That money was for our house, for our emergency fund. I am not your family ATM. He apologized. Hard. Flowers. Long texts. Promises. We went to one couple's counseling session where he admitted he was careless with money, and I was controlling because of my childhood. The therapist nodded in that slow, understanding way. We agreed. No big transfers without talking. No using my savings account unless it was an actual, real emergency. I believed him. Because I wanted to. After that, I moved my main savings into a separate account at a different bank. There was still a card linked to it, tucked in the back of my wallet for true emergencies. Tom knew it existed. He knew the PIN because I'd given it to him once when my car broke down and I was stuck in the ER. If you ever need it for something serious, I'd said, you can use it. But text me, okay? We'll talk after. This is our parachute. He'd hugged me then. I won't abuse it. Promise. Fast forward to that Sunday dinner with the football and the pot roast and the jokes about my 60 grand just sitting there. On the drive home that night, I stared out the window while Tom hummed along to the radio. Did you have to say that? I finally asked. About my savings? He glanced at me. Babe, it was a joke. Relax. They're just jealous because you're organized. I don't like my money being treated like a party trick, I said. I get it, he replied. But honestly, it's not just your money anymore. We're married. It's all ours. The way he said ours made my skin crawl. A week later, I walked past the living room and heard him on the phone with Jake. He didn't see me. Dude, I told you, once I get my bonus and we hit the mall, we'll get you set up, Tom was saying, laughing. We'll get suits, watches, whatever for the new job. If it runs high, I'll just put it on Hannah's card. She won't freak out. It's for family. There it was again. My savings, already spent in their heads. You sure? Jake asked. That jet ski guy needs an answer soon. Tom lowered his voice. Trust me, she's got it. She always does. I stood in the hallway, heart pounding, realizing that somewhere along the line, my emergency fund had turned into their future shopping trip. That was the moment I started checking my banking app 3 times a day instead of once. It still wasn't enough. The day it all blew up, I was on hour 10 of a 12-hour shift. It was one of those ER days where everything blurred together. Chest pains, car accidents, a kid who swallowed a coin. I hadn't eaten anything that wasn't a granola bar. During a rare 5-minute lull, I ducked into the staff room, sat on a plastic chair, and habit, opened my banking app. At first, my brain didn't process what I was seeing. $12,900. Luxury timepieces, outlet $8,450. Metro suits and tailoring. $19,000. Power Sports Megastore. Pending. All on the emergency savings card. All in the last 2 hours. My stomach dropped so fast I felt dizzy. I hit call on Tom's name. It rang and rang. No answer. I tried again. On the 4th ring, he picked up, sounding out of breath and weirdly excited. Loud music in the background, people talking. Hey, Han, can I call you back? Where are you? I said. My voice came out flat and cold. The mall, he said. Just helping Jake get ready for his interviews. Why? Another notification hit my screen while we were talking. $18,050. Power Sports Megastore, pending. Tom, I said slowly, are you using the savings card? There was a pause. Then he laughed, high and nervous. Babe, calm down. I'm with Jake. We're just putting stuff on it for now. I'll move things around later. The deals today are insane. You should see this jet ski. And then, clear as a gunshot, I heard Jake yell in the background, voice echoing over some store's sound system. Use your wife's card, man. She's got like 60 grand. Just swipe it. Something inside me snapped, cleanly, quietly. I'm hanging up, I said. Han, don't be like that. Tom started, but I was already pressing the red button. My hands were shaking as I called the bank's emergency line. Hi, I need to report unauthorized charges and freeze my card, I said. Right now. The rep pulled up my account. I see several large purchases pending today. Is that what you're referring to? Yes, I said. Freeze it. Decline any more. I'll dispute these later. She asked a few security questions. I answered them automatically, eyes burning. Okay, Dr. Miles, she finally said. Your card is now locked. Any new transaction will be declined. I still had 2 hours left in my shift. I did them on autopilot. I smiled at patients' families. I explained lab results. I signed charts with a hand that wouldn't stop trembling. As soon as I clocked out, I didn't go home. I drove straight to the address on the last pending transaction, Power Sports Megastore. The place was exactly what it sounded like. Giant warehouse, neon signs, rows of motorcycles and ATVs, and yes, shiny jet skis lined up like toys for idiots with too much money. I spotted them instantly. Tom and Jake were at the register talking to a bored-looking cashier. On the counter in front of them, a stack of glossy paperwork, a pile of branded hats, and a set of keys on a floaty keychain. The cashier was holding my card. "Sir," she was saying, "this card keeps declining. It says the account has been frozen." Jake threw his hands up. "That's impossible. There's money in there. Just run it again." "It's not going through," she repeated. "It's flagged. I can't override it." I walked up, still in my scrubs, badge clipped to my pocket, hair in a messy bun. I felt strangely calm. "It's not impossible," I said. "I'm the owner of that card. I froze it." Tom turned around so fast he almost dropped his phone. "Hannah, what are you doing here?" "Stopping you," I said. I looked at the cashier. "Please cancel the transaction. All of them. That card is not to be used." The cashier looked relieved. "No problem, ma'am. I'll void this out." Jake stared at me like I'd ruined his day. "Are you serious right now? We've been here all day. They already prepped it. I signed everything." "You signed for my money," I answered. "Without my consent." Tom stepped closer, holding his hands out like I was a scared animal. "Babe, listen. It's not what it looks like. This is an investment. The jet ski will pay for itself in a season. The suits and watches are for Jake's job. We were going to move things around and—" "Pay me back?" I cut in. "With what, exactly?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. Jake scoffed. "You're being dramatic. You're a doctor. 60 grand is nothing to you." I felt my voice rise then, sharper than I intended. 60 grand is 10 years of saying no to myself, I snapped. It's every overnight shift. It's student loans and skipped vacations and telling my mom I can't help as much as I want to. It is not nothing. It is not a toy fund, and it is not your jet ski. People were watching now. A couple in fishing vests, a teenager, someone in a store polo pretending to straighten helmets while definitely eavesdropping. Tom's face went red. "Can we not do this here?" he hissed. "You're embarrassing me." "You swiped my emergency fund for a boat you don't even have a lake for," I said. "I'm past worried about your ego." Jake shook his head. "You know what, man? I warned you. She's got you on a leash. This is why I said you should just do it first and tell her later." Tom glanced at his brother, then back at me, and I watched him make a choice. "You're overreacting," he said finally. "We're married. Your savings are our savings. My family is your family. You act like it's your money and we're all freeloaders." I stared at him. "You are," I said quietly. "At least today you are." His mouth opened again, but I held up a hand. "I'm done," I said. "Card is frozen. The bank is already flagging the charges. If anything actually goes through, you can pay it off. Out of your money. Not mine." I turned to the cashier. "Please make sure none of this hits my card," I said. "If it does, I'll be filing a fraud report in the morning. Do you need me to sign anything?" She slid the card back to me like it was radioactive. "No, ma'am, we're good." Tom was breathing hard, eyes glossy, but I'd run out of sympathy. "Go home, Hannah," he said bitterly. "Cool off." "Oh, I'm cool," I replied. "I'm going home to pack." And then I walked out of that store, my emergency card clenched in my fist, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was actually protecting myself instead of everyone else. I didn't make a dramatic movie exit when I got home. No suitcase down the stairs, no screaming match. I walked in, took a long shower, then sat at our kitchen table with my laptop and a legal pad. ER mode, triage. First thing, I moved every cent from my savings account into a brand new account at a different bank. Tom didn't know existed. New card, new PIN, new everything. Second, I took myself off our joint credit card and closed the overdraft protection that linked my savings to our checking. Third, I texted Tom, We need to talk about finances and boundaries. I'm staying with a friend tonight. Don't touch any accounts." My friend Maya, another doctor, didn't ask many questions when I showed up at her apartment with a duffel bag. She shoved a glass of water into my hand and a cat into my lap. "You can tell me when you're ready," she said. "Or never. But you're not going back there tonight." Tom blew up my phone. First it was, "Babe, can we please talk? I'm sorry it got out of hand." Then, "You humiliated me in public over nothing." Then, "You're overreacting. Everyone uses credit. It's not like I gambled it away." By the time I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, he'd graduated to, "If you walk out over this, you're choosing money over family." The next day, we met at a neutral place, a coffee shop halfway between our apartment and Maya's. He looked tired. I probably did too. He launched straight into it. "I get that you're mad," he said, "but you freezing the card? Moving the money? That was extreme." I stirred my coffee slowly. "What you did was theft, Tom." His eyes widened. "Wow, really? Theft? You took my card and spent almost $60,000 without telling me," I said. "You didn't call. You didn't text. You didn't even ask. That's not a misunderstanding. That's stealing." He rubbed his face. "We're married. It's not stealing. I'm your husband, not a stranger." "Married doesn't mean entitled to someone else's work," I said. "If you'd asked, the answer would have been no. So you didn't ask." He sat back, angry now. "So what, you're leaving me over money?" "I'm leaving because you don't respect me," I said. "Money is just where it shows." We went in circles for an hour. He insisted it was an investment, that he was under pressure to help Jake, that I was obsessed with control. At some point, I laid it out plainly. "Here's what I'm willing to do," I said. "Separate finances. You handle your debts. I handle mine. If you want to stay married, we go back to counseling and you get into individual therapy for this 'I'll fix it later' thing you have with money. No more hiding, no more just this once with your family." "And if I don't?" he asked. "Then we're done," I said. Simple. My voice barely shook. He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He just stared at his coffee. A few days later, Linda called. "I don't know what you said to him," she snapped, "but Tom is a mess. Jake's furious. That was his chance to get ahead, and you sabotaged it." "By not buying him a jet ski?" I asked. "By humiliating your husband," she shot back. "It's just money, Hannah. You can make more. Family is forever." "I'm not your bank," I said, "and I'm done being treated like one." "Greed will eat you alive," she hissed. "Don't come crying to us when you end up alone." Click. For the first time, I blocked her number. The bank reversed the pending charges within a week after I filed a dispute and sent them screenshots of texts where Tom basically admitted what he'd done. They flagged the card as compromised. Jake sent me a long, ranting paragraph about how selfish I was, how real partners support their spouse's family, how I'd ruined his business idea. I didn't answer. Tom did not, in fact, start therapy. He did, however, move back in with his parents for a while after I told him I wasn't ready for him to come home. The quiet in my apartment after he left was weird. At first it felt like standing in an empty ER at 3 a.m. Too quiet. Wrong quiet. Like something bad was about to happen. I kept expecting my phone to buzz. Another demand. Another crisis. It didn't. I went to work, came home, fed myself actual food instead of leftovers he'd promised to eat and never did. I took long baths without someone asking if we could skip the fancy soap. It's expensive. I started doing little things just for me. A Pilates class on my day off, buying blueberries without mentally calculating the cost per ounce, replacing my worn-out sneakers without feeling guilty. One night, sitting on my couch with a mug of tea, I opened my banking app out of habit. For the first time in months, the numbers looked like mine. No surprise transfers, no missing chunks, just what I had planned. I realized I wasn't clenching my jaw. Friends noticed the change before I did. "You look lighter," Maya said one morning at 5 a.m. as we grabbed coffees before shift. I blocked my mother-in-law, I said. She raised her cup. To peace. A month after the jet ski incident, Tom texted, "We should talk about divorce." My heart dropped, then did something surprising. It relaxed. We did the paperwork mostly through lawyers. No kids, no house. The messiest part was him arguing that he'd contributed emotionally to my ability to save, so he deserved half my account. My lawyer nearly laughed. In the end, he got what was in the joint checking at the time we separated. I kept my savings, my retirement accounts, my peace. Jake unfriended me on everything. Linda posted some vague Facebook status about ungrateful people who choose money over love. I chose myself. And slowly, my life stopped being about extinguishing other people's fires and started being about not dropping lit matches on my own life. It's been 6 months since the Power Sports Showdown. I still drive past that place sometimes on my way to the hospital. The giant summer fun sale banner is still there. Every time I picture that cashier holding my card and saying, "This account has been frozen," and I feel this strange swell of gratitude. Not for her, for me. For the version of me who finally hit the brakes. I never thought I'd be the woman who walks away from a marriage over money. That used to sound shallow to me. Now I know better. It was never just money. It was hours of my life, my safety net, my future kids' safety net, my mom's future medical bills. It was the difference between staying in a job I hate and being able to take a break. When Tom and his family treated my savings like an open bar, what they were really saying was, your time, your work, your security doesn't matter as much as our comfort and toys. I believed that for a long time. I let myself be the responsible one, the fixer, the quiet wallet in the corner. I let people call me stingy and dramatic and controlling because it was easier than being called selfish. Now I have a new rule. I am not an ATM with feelings. I am a person. My no is a full sentence. My finances are separate. My passwords are mine. I talk openly about money on first dates now. How do you handle debt? How do you feel about emergency funds? What does ours mean to you? If that scares someone off, good. Last week, a younger nurse asked me for advice. She told me her boyfriend keeps borrowing from her savings and calls her selfish if she gets upset. I told her what I wish someone had told me. You're not selfish for wanting security, I said. You're not greedy for saying no. If someone only loves you when you're easy to use, they don't actually love you. So, yeah. I became the woman from the Reddit story, the one whose husband told his brother, "Use my wife's card, she's got like 60 grand saved," and expected me to smile while they drained it. Instead, I froze the account. Then I unfroze my life. And if there's any moral here, it's this. Protect your peace, like you protect your PIN. Once someone shows you they see you as a wallet instead of a partner, believe them and walk away, even if your hands are shaking while you do it.